Isabella was born on a bright sunny afternoon. Kind of wanted a boy after 2 girls, but when they told me that Iz was a girl, I was excited. Quickly we realized that she had a couple of medical issues, but as a mother I thought, we'll get through this. Not going to be an issue. We can soldier on. But it wasn't but a few more years after that we hit something much larger.
So who's holding you there?
Angel holding me.
Who's holding you there?
When she was about 2, she started to have some sentences. And of course she had the mama and the daddy, but then another one became quite apparent, and that was I boy. I boy? Well, you mean you want to be like a boy, or you want to be as fast as a boy, or something like that, I thought at first. And no, it was insistent, I boy. I think at that point I realized, combined with the way that she would run around and do things that my girls never did, cars, trucks, really rough play with her sisters, I went on the internet and I started to look at some of these characteristics to see if there was any hits for that. And I did come across some information on transgender children.
Transgender means to identify with a gender other than the one you were born with. Children become aware of their gender between 1 and 2 years of age, and although Isabella was just 2, she was expressing a mismatch between her body and her gender identity. Jennifer sought professional help, and Isabella was diagnosed with gender identity disorder.
It was sort of devastating and shocking, and they coached us through our grief at the situation, but they said that the best thing to do was to embrace who he was. And so we began our journey as trans parents.
Gender identity disorder is a rare condition. One estimate places it between 0.25% and 1% of the American population. In the past few years, there have been increasing numbers of families with gender nonconforming children who are seeking help and support.
Welcome to the 2012 Gender Spectrum Family Conference, our 6th conference. I'm Joel Baum.
In Berkeley, California, an annual gathering at the Gender Spectrum Family Conference brings together experts to provide support and education.
The way most of us were brought up is there's a place for girls and a place for boys, and you find your place. And that's what we call the gender binary. If a child affirms a gender that doesn't fit in the binary boxes, and if that child is squished back into a box they say they don't belong in, there are serious emotional risks for that child.
We all have a gender story. What I would propose is that at the point at which you're faced with having to make a choice, you start to think about it. For some of us, that maybe was age 3 or 4 or 5. For some of us, it wasn't until we were maybe teenagers.
So in terms of a child and a family being sure about gender, again, you have the full range of experiences. So there's some kids that know, sort of right out of the womb or as soon as they can talk, they know that they're a different gender. But there are other kids where it really isn't as clear, and that is a process of exquisite listening and intense exploration.
Like even saying that I'm gender fluid is slightly putting myself in a box because it is a word. I'm me, and that's kind of like the only way to describe it.
All the clinics, what they say is there's a dramatic increase in the numbers of people that are seeking care, and they're also coming younger and younger. And even though we do we're seeing this tremendous increase in numbers, it's still very rare. I think it's important for people to realize that. There's been a lot of media about this, and I think that makes it seem like it's more common than it is. It's still incredibly rare for someone to feel like their body is not aligned with their internal gender identity, but I think it's increasingly common for people to understand that there's interventions.
Early intervention is becoming a widely accepted treatment approach by professionals. But how should parents respond when their child's gender identity doesn't fit the gender norms?
They can either be supportive or prohibitive. And if they're prohibitive of their children's gender expressions and tell them that their core gender identity is not okay, then they may be doing damage to their children's mental health. And if they support it, then they may be bolstering their child's mental health. So that's where they have a lot of influence.
There's my hair.
Was that a happy day when you got your hair cut? Huh?
Look at this, me.
Back in Isabella's family, Jennifer decided to allow her daughter to socially transition to a boy. Isabella became Izzy, they purchased a new wardrobe, and Izzy's hair was cut short.
I think it was then that I really got that what I was doing was right in embracing him to be a boy, that he knew he was, because I've never seen my child so content to be in these boys' clothes with this boy haircut, looking as though I imagined he wanted to look. For people who may have some doubts as to what we're doing, embracing him, being a boy, I think if they could have some empathy and try to be in our shoes to understand that all parents love their children and want to support them. So it seems to me the path is pretty clear, that I need to support him in the best way I can, which is probably what any mother would do.